Hi neighbors, welcome back or welcome if you're new. And my name is Jerri-ellen and this is Cooking with Neighbors. Today, I'm just doing something to prep kind of thing for Easter dinner. And we're just having a simple dinner this year, but I thought that I would share with you my take on making a stovetop stuffing. Instead of going out and buying a box of it, this is how I have made it in the past, and I thought I'd make it again now and share it with you all. So first, I put my bread. I broke up a baguette. It was actually a baguette and another half a baguette to get the amount that I wanted. 8 cups of breadcrumbs, and I spread them out on my baking sheet, my sheet pan, and I just let them air dry. Once in a while, I gave them a toss, and I let them sit there for a good 12, 15 hours. They're really, really dry. Now I put them in a container. I'm going to tilt you down now. And I'm going to tell you what I do, how you can cook it, and also any additions that you may want to add. I got a couple of things that sometimes I do, and I'll share that with you as well. So I'll show you the spices. What I'm using is poultry seasoning and some sage, parsley flakes, paprika, garlic powder, and onion powder. And you can use celery seed if you have it as well. To my 8 cups of dried breadcrumbs, I'm going to add a teaspoon and a half of poultry seasoning. But I like to add just a little bit more sage. I'm going to add a 1/4 of a teaspoon of sage, even though I know the poultry seasoning has it. Okay. I would say a tablespoon and almost a half. So a good heaping tablespoon of parsley flakes. Add a bit of paprika, half a teaspoon. You can put this in a bag. It doesn't have to be a container. And I'm going to put a teaspoon of garlic powder, a teaspoon of onion powder. How's everybody doing? I hope everybody's doing well. Another thing sometimes that I add, but I don't have any today, is I add a half teaspoon of celery seasoning, like celery salt. You're going to put a 1/4 of a teaspoon to a half a teaspoon of pepper. So now I'm going to give it a good mix before you use it as well, right? Okay. You're going to dump it all in, and if you have like a barbecue brush, like dust the residue of the seasonings onto your breadcrumbs when you dump it into your dish. Okay, I'm just going to wipe the counter and give you a few little things. Now, I didn't add bouillon powder. One sec. I didn't add bouillon powder because we eat a lot of vegetarian, and Casey is vegetarian, and so is Lucian. I have the vegetarian bouillon cubes of chicken or beef, and I have a vegetable one that I buy at Bulk Barn. Now, what I do is this is good for 4 to 5 kilogram bird, okay, if you're stuffing it inside your turkey. Or around a 10 pound almost of, or 10 pound or whatever, uh, turkey, or you can bake it in a dish. What I also add, because this is not the end, so I'm going to put it in a dish, but when I'm adding my broth, I add 6 tablespoons of butter. You can use melted butter or put it in a warm broth so it melts. Now, I just want to make sure I emailed myself some tips so that I can share with you uh, a bit more for when you're making this. Sometimes just like a little hint of nutmeg in it gives it a depth of flavor as well, along with that paprika that I added. In the broth, I add, like I said, the 6 tablespoons of butter to the broth, and also a few dashes of Worcestershire. If you don't have that, you could add uh, like a teaspoon or two of a soy sauce. Okay, that gives it even more in-depth flavor. Okay, um, if you want to have it, uh, you know, with other things in it, you can saute 2 ribs of celery diced up fine, and a small onion diced up as well. Saute that and a little bit of olive oil and butter. And also, you could add like bits and pieces of cooked sausage, like a breakfast sausage or an Italian sausage, like a sweet Italian sausage. Make sure you know that it's cooked, and you mix that sauteed vegetables and sausage if you're using, and you mix that through it before you put it in the pan in the oven. But make sure your sausage is cooked because it's not going to be in the oven that long in a pan. I bake it at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for only like 25-35 minutes, depending on and then I take it out and I fluff it with a fork. You cover it or whatever after that, kind of keep it warm. But I don't know, like you might want it a little bit crispy. You might want to butter your pan and you might want to leave it in there a bit longer. Also, this would be around good for around 5 people. I would say 4 to 6, but around 5 people for dinner. So the amount of broth that I would use is 1.5 to 1 3/4 cup of broth. If you put like bouillon powder in this, look up on your container of your bouillon powder what amount you would use for 1.5 to 1 3/4 cup of water, and sprinkle that in there. And then you can just use water when the time comes. Okay. Classic stovetop texture. The bread should be tender but not soggy. Butter is key, which I was saying. When I said 1.5 to 1 3/4 cup, you can start off like a little bit more than a cup of broth and have a look at it as it's baking, you know, and you could add more to it if it looks like it's a bit dry. So that's why I say, like, I usually do this by looking at it. So that's why I'm given sort of like a gauge, like around 1.5 cups. Okay, but you don't have to add all of it at the same time. Anyway, that's it in a nutshell. I thank you all for being here. I appreciate it so much. I know I haven't been here very often. I plan on being here probably every other week. And perhaps like in the fall, that I might pick up to more than that. But for now, I'm at about every other week that I'll be here. If you would like more content, but I got some different content mixed with some cooking or baking. I do grocery hauls, shopping, cleaning, some baking and cooking will be over at a channel called Jerri in Canada. And just exploring and doing different things. So that's why I'm not here as often. Uh, yeah. Anyway, uh, I love yous all, and I liked being here today, and I hope that you enjoyed being here today. And again, I have another channel called Jerry in Canada if you want to check it out. Love yous. Peace, love, and God bless. Bye.